In part 1 of the series, Nicole and I hopped into the Hilux and covered a little over 1,060 kilometers or 660 miles on a journey from the east coast of South Africa to the west coast. We spent the night in the Karoo Highlands at a spot that looks exactly what you'd expect if you went for a drive on the moon. And after an early morning and another full day of driving, getting stuck, the usual, we found camp right on the beach in an extremely secluded spot, and that's where we found ourselves on this beautiful morning as we prepared to do absolutely nothing for a full day and just soak it all in. Good morning from the beautiful west coast. Another lovely day today as expected. The wind is starting to pick up, but thankfully it's not as bad as it can normally get here. We've already had a really slow morning. I woke up feeling very sick. I don't know if it was a bit of dehydration or what, but I was in bed until basically 10:30, almost 11 o'clock in the morning, and couldn't hold any water down, which was really weird. I couldn't hold any food down. Eventually remembered that 2-minute noodles are supposed to be very easy for the stomach to hold down, so made a bowl of 2-minute noodles, and since I've eaten that I've been fine. So it's been a weird morning, but I'm going to take it slow. Nicole's found a place to tan somewhere, and I'm probably going to go for a bit of a walk with her when she's done there, because what a beautiful coastline, you've got to make the most of it. Both of us were pretty blown away by the sheer variety of succulents and flowers all around us. The colours were enough to make a bee blush, and I think it's these bursts of life in an otherwise dry and dead place that really make this part of the country so special. If you looked at the section of coastline on a map and saw what seems to be pretty much a desert with a single sand road for hundreds of kilometers, you'd probably think there's nothing here worth experiencing, but we'll just let people think that. I mean, the less crowded this place becomes, the better. Right, so here's a map of the western half of South Africa, and I'm going to just show you where we've come from and where we are possibly planning to go. So just on the other side of this map is Port Elizabeth here. That's where we left from. We went up here to Graafrenet, to the Valley of Desolation. Then I believe we took this road up here through Murraysburg, Victoria West, Loxton, and we camped somewhere around about over here on the first night near Loxton. Next morning, Carnarvon, Williston, Calvinia, Nieuwoudtville. That's where we stopped for our lunch with all the flowers near the Huntum Botanical Gardens. Then we came down here to Van Reinsdorp, filled up with fuel, and we ended up somewhere around here. Now I'm not exactly sure where we are because our campsite is not actually marked here, but here's the Western Cape and Northern Cape border where that little orange line is, and we are somewhere to the north, just to the north of that. And then tomorrow I think the goal might be to go further along the coast, probably about an hour drive from where we are, to Groenriviermond, and over there is Namakwa National Park. So we're thinking a drive up Namakwa National Park on the Caracal Eco Trail. You can see there 4x4 Caracal would be great. Might stop at Hornerklip Bay and then take the road back here and either head back the way we came or go down on the N7 to Cape Town, have a quick pop in at Rolf possibly and say hello, and then come back this way. But the options for the next few days are endless. It's all a question of you know, whether we're feeling we have enough energy to just keep going and whether we've got enough time to just keep going. It's hard to tell with my work. I have to constantly be checking up on emails and stuff, which means that I might get into an area with signal, realize that I've got some work to do and have to just knuckle down and do it. There's pluses and minuses to my work. The plus is I can take some time off like this during the week with Nicole, and we can go out and do stuff. The downside is I have to be on call basically in case I'm needed for anything, but it's worth it, you know. If you can come out and do stuff like this, no one's going to complain. But next few days is a mystery. Let's see how it goes. With the endless coastline stretching out to the north and the south, we leave our campsite and decide to do some exploring. There's a few things that are just blowing my mind about this place. Number one, around every little corner there's another beautiful little bay. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could have thousands of campsites along this coast, but obviously they want to try and keep it empty and keep it wild and all of that, and so I think the way they've done it is perfect. Secondly, you think of the West Coast as a place that's pretty dead, but when you look closely and you actually start paying attention, I mean, we've just noticed footprints everywhere from many different bird species. There's prints that at first we thought were dog prints, which were weird, but upon closer inspection I think they're otter footprints. So if we look closely we might find lots of otters running along the coast here, which would be awesome. And then yeah, just there's something about the West Coast. There's always an argument, West Coast versus East Coast, what, you know, South Africa, which is better. It's kind of an internal argument that we have with each other, but honestly they're so different that you can't compare them. I would say each place has its benefits. The water here is so cold, unfortunately, on the West Coast that trying to swim here is not often done, especially not in the winter. East Coast is much warmer, but East Coast can be pretty crowded, and the West Coast, this kind of open freedom that we have here, you just don't find that anywhere else in the country. So we are really enjoying it, and just to go for little walks like this, what a privilege. We found a cave. Let's see what's in here. No, definitely doesn't. Yeah. You wouldn't want to get trapped in here when the tide comes in. Back at the camp we discover that the fridge has stopped working, which is a real bummer. Needing to use all the meat that we've brought, we get to work on a pack of boerewors. The nice thing about the Elva water heater is that aside from the ability to have hot showers every night, we also have instant hot water for washing dishes. No more waiting for the kettle to boil. Another beautiful sunset, another drone flight, another time lapse, and I don't know, this might be the last evening on the west coast, it might not. It all depends on what happens tomorrow with trying to find accommodation. We don't know how long our drive is going to be tomorrow, so there's a whole lot of factors at play, but maybe spontaneity is what I need. So yeah, temperature's plummeted now all of a sudden, so let's get a jacket on and maybe get a fire going, and time for our last meal at the spot. And I have to find Nicole as well, because she's gone gallivanting off again. The original plan for supper tonight was to do like spaghetti bolognese. However, because the fridge is not working properly and the freezer is not working properly, we kind of summed up the value of everything in the freezer, because we realized not all of it's going to last. And we thought, okay, well, let's use the most valuable items first. And the most valuable item in the freezer was a whole bag of prawns. So we've put the mince aside. Hopefully the mince does last long enough, but the prawns are what we're doing tonight. We've got a massive bag of prawns here. Don't have necessarily all the ingredients that we wanted to do this properly, but spaghetti is busy cooking, obviously with just a little bit of salt and olive oil. And then we've got the prawns, and we're going to do not that teriyaki prawns. I like to put a little bit of maizena in as well, just to thicken the teriyaki sauce a bit. But teriyaki prawns and a bit of spaghetti, that should be a nice filling dinner. And we've got the fire going just for gees. I'm not sure how to translate gees. Atmosphere, good vibe, I guess would be the English translation. But beautiful evening, winds died down, fantastic weather, clear skies. We're expecting the stars to come out, so we'll be eating dinner under a starry sky with the sound of the ocean in the background. And then I'm going to have a nice hot shower before going to bed, and hopefully we can wake up nice and early tomorrow and hit the road and just enjoy a full day of driving on the sand tomorrow. So dinner's our priority, but a lot to look forward to over the next few days. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, because the next leg of this adventure is going to be absolutely epic. We are heading to the sandy roads of the Namakwa National Park and continuing north for another 130 kilometers of low-range 4x4 exploring through dune fields, colorful plains, lookout points, and coastal wilderness with some unexpected sightings. See you then. Thanks for joining us on this adventure.